Hello all you paranormal pondering people. Welcome to Michelle's Paranormal Pathways. I'm just going to put that over there. There we go. Today we're going to finish our little clearing chat, and I'm going to talk to you about things like sage and crystals and tinctures and all of that kind of a thing. So in our last video we talked about a proper clearing, how you're channeling source energy, which is the right and perfect energy in a neutral way to clear an area, a place, an object, whatever it is that you're doing. And from an observer from the outside looking in, if they just see you standing there, you don't need to say anything out loud. It doesn't look like you're doing anything. So we use things like sage and crystals and sound so that people have focus. So when you leave an area and you're telling someone, oh, you need to keep the vibration high, if they have no experience, they don't know how energy works, they don't understand it, just telling them that can be confusing. So when you give them something like white sage, which could also be cedar, for instance, or pine resin, or Palo Santo wood, or sandalwood, any number of things, or an incense that they like. It must be something that you physically like. White sage became popular simply because of the hippies in the 60s and 70s from California. They saw native people using white sage specifically because that's what was from their area, and that's what became popular. Okay, so you light it, very simple. You get a nice smoke going. Now I don't have my feathers over here, I've just got a small little spot. So you can physically see, and whoever is watching you can physically see the smoke happening. You can wash it over yourself. You can, like, it's something you can physically see. So, and it smells lovely. So when someone is observing you doing a clearing, and you may be talking them through it and saying all of the things that I said, you're drawing it down, you tell them you're grounding, you're bringing it back up to heart, you know, you're focusing with your breath, coming from a neutral place, you're doing your bubble, you're spreading it out. They can grasp that. But if you're also smudging afterwards, let's say, okay, now we're smudging, there you go, here's some smudge. After I've left, you can do this on your own. You can keep the vibration high. Use something you love. Do you like dragon's blood? Do you like patchouli? Do you like whatever it is? Use something that you love that makes you feel good. A lot of people, especially men, like dragon's blood. It's got like that good sounding protection name, and they like to use that. In Asia, dragons are considered along the same line as angels are in some cases. Yes, there are some negative stories about dragons, but in Asia, they're usually the protectors of different things, just as Archangel Michael is a protector. So the little thing there, you can also use, let's say you've got allergies, you can't be burning things, you have asthma. You can use essential oils. You don't need to be splashing it all over the place. You can do the same thing. It can be smelled. You can place it on a light bulb and actually, like, one little dot, and it will smell throughout the room. That's like something that we did back in the 70s, where there was certain lamps in the house where they have like a little metal ring that can go around that you can put the oil in, or you can put it on the top of a bulb if you're careful. It is possible to blow up a light bulb. But the heat diffused it. And that's another thing that can help raise the vibration. Of course, the biggest thing that everyone has heard about are crystals. And what's so special about a crystal? How does that raise a vibration and keep the vibration high? You don't need to actually program the crystal to work in a specific way. They naturally oscillate at about 32,000 vibrations per second, okay? That's why they're used in watchmaking and things like that. It is attuned to Earth's manifested state, which is why it is perfect to use. You don't need to do anything about it. You can set it up in the four corners of the house. You can have one at the front, the back. Like, it gives people that physical, oh, I know that it's there. I know it's working. The vibrations are being kept high. You can use a little tiny tumbled piece. You don't need some big crystal like I have. You can add different types. I don't know if you can see or not. Let me see. Do I have a piece of white paper? There we go, white paper. It's a piece of very light colored amethyst. I don't know if you can see that. When you start adding various minerals to quartz, that kind of enhances and changes the properties a bit. Amethyst is used as a protection type of a thing. So you've got that high vibration, that protective kind of a thing. So if you're really having a hard time focusing and coming from a neutral, non-interference kind of a thing, but you feel like you need protection, something like an amethyst piece is perfect to carry with you. You can get little palm pieces. Let's see, what have I got on my desk? There we go. You can get these little like worry stone slice pieces, which are really easy to put in a pocket or something along those lines. This happens to be hematite, which is a very good protection and grounding stone. So you can take a stone, you physically have it, you know that the vibrations are being high because of what you've got with you, so you don't need to worry, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, it's going to come back, it's going to, because if there's somebody in the home or on your team that's really not too sure about it and they can't really focus and understand the energy, these are tools that help keep the vibrations that you've just raised through the clearing that I explained in the last video, keeps it high. And of course, selenite is considered an angel stone. If I move it back and forth, you can see the crystals grow in striations up and down. And if you use it in a heart shape, so shape actually can also enhance the energy and the frequency of the crystals. So these are, because of the way they're grown and the way the striations are, they're used to connect to angel energy. Okay, so that's just another way of having it around in the house on a shelf, and you know, okay, we're connecting to angels, this is keeping the energy high. And of course, you've got focus through crystal skulls. Crystal skulls are used, basically the energy comes in from behind and out the eyes and is focused in a very particular way, especially when our mind envisions and sees that. Back in South America, they had a ritual, their New Year's, where all debts and all negative actions of people are forgiven, all the fires are put out, the crystal skulls are used, the sun comes in from behind, the light is focused like a magnifying glass down into the tinder, and you restart the fires, and everyone restarts with a clean slate. So you're getting rid of those negative energies, which is also why the skull is used for focus. So we've got a rose quartz skull. Well, how does that change? Well, that's the love, protective kind of energies that come from those minerals. So again, you've got the quartz, high vibration of 32,000 oscillations per second, which is, like I say, why watchmakers use silica-based crystals, because it's very precise and it's geared to Earth's energy, which is why that is so important. So we've got that going. You could, bring in some crystals or tell them, okay, this is what you can do to help keep your vibrations higher. You can also use sound. These are called tinctures. And again, you use it no less than 3 times, but you can use it as many times as you need. This is a very easy way to go around from rooms. You've done your clearings. You can explain to someone, okay, this is what you can do. You do like, a clink in one room, a clink in another. Like if you're going around the entire house, you don't need to do it 3 times in every room. But if you really feel the need to, you do need to do it at least 3 times, or address the 4 directions and do it 4 times. So tinctures, prayer bells. Sorry. I have a bit of an issue with smoke, so I'm having a little bit of a delayed reaction to the sage. Don't worry, I'll be fine. But that's another reason why I know about using the essential oils. Don't worry, my voice will come back. So, you've done the sound. Perhaps you like the tinctures. Perhaps you like using prayer bells. Or perhaps you like go to a video and turn on the Love Hertz, which is a vibration. I believe it's 528, and you might just leave that on for a while to raise the vibration. Another thing that I do is I use my drum. And some people might argue, well, a drum is a very low tone. How could that possibly work? Well, this is also geared to Earth's energy. They're normally made with wood and animal skins. You can get ones that aren't, that are, animal friendly. This was made by native people. And so my husband bought this for me for my 50th birthday. I just love this drum. So you could conceivably use a dog whistle, where when you blow really, really hard on a dog whistle, you don't hear anything. You might hear air moving through, but you don't hear the frequency because it is so high, we can't hear that. But you can also use a drum, which is a lower tone, but because drums have been used as sacred instruments for raising the vibrations for thousands of years, they hold that energy. So when my premature son was very, very little and in the neonatal unit, I didn't know what to do. I was there, and you're going through so many emotions, and a female person sang into my ear this healing song for my premature son. I found out from a shaman years later, who didn't know my story, that there was a lady who sang behind my shoulder, and it was the grandmother. Now, when you refer to the grandmother or the grandfather, that is source, the creator energy. The male form would be grandfather, and the female form would be grandmother. Okay, so that's where this song came from. So you can see where I've actually hit the drum so many times. I've got it clear. So I'll just sing it really, really quickly. And the importance of this is I'm not using words. Yes, I'm saying hey ya or hey ya yo. I'm using tonal sounds to do this. I'm using neutral sounds to do this. So when someone like myself uses Sanskrit, like Om Mani Padme Hum, I don't know what those words mean. I know that they've been used for thousands of years for clearing and drawing down the energy of source. So it is very easy for me to use those things without putting any intention behind it. It's just neutral sounds to be using. Okay, so I'll just very quickly, and of course 3 rounds, again 3, always at least 3. So hey ya, hey ya, hey ya yo, hey ya yo, hey ya yo, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya yo, hey ya yo, hey ya yo, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya yo, hey ya yo, hey ya yo. So 3 times. I have other healing songs that have come to me in that exact same way. And an interesting story to note, that when I started singing this, every time I see my son, and of course he's in an incubator, he's covered in wires, I can't pick him up, I can't hold him, but I could sing to him. And one of the things that the nurses noticed through the few weeks that we were there before we were transferred to a hospital that was closer to home, because of course they sent him to the best hospital in Toronto, is that all the monitors, all the babies, I thought it had turned off. It hadn't. All the babies stopped crying. The monitors stopped going off. There were no emergencies while I sang this song to my son. When it was getting close to time for him to leave, 3 nurses approached me. And they said, "We've been watching you, and every time you come in and you sing to your son, everything is perfect. None of the babies are in trouble. The monitors don't go off. Could you possibly teach us what you're doing?" And of course, yes, I did. And so this was something that was observed from outside. I had nothing to do with that. So little by little, these important things are being recognized by people and being used. And the more they're used and the more that it travels out into the world, the better people can, for the better, they can change their lives. They can raise their vibrations. And that's what it's all about. It's learning how to help others and to help yourself. So I do have one little thing I'd like to show you. I'm going to go over to my computer. And we have right here a picture that I took in the woods near where I live. There we go. Here's an interesting little orb-like thing that I got a couple of years ago with my friend Charlotte in our World of Wonders. And I'm going to ask, what do you think that is? It's going to be one of the things that we'll talk about in another video, not right away, but in a little while. We'll talk about orbs and what is an orb, what isn't an orb, what to look for, how do I know if I've got something unusual or not. I was just curious to see, what do you think? What do you think it might be? I know what it is, so obviously, and it just might be a real orb, or it just might not be. And if you don't think it is, what do you think it is? And another topic to talk about. So leave your ideas and your thoughts and your questions down in the comments. And our next video, I'm going to tell you a really interesting story that I thought for over 40 years that it was a UFO story. And it turns out it might just be a Bigfoot story. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Happy hunting.